Steve's backyard in Te Puke is not just a garden, it's a full-on food forest. Packed with tropical and subtropical, this urban backyard is housed to bananas, to exotic fruit trees, and to an incredible variety of edible plants, all thriving in New Zealand's climate. What started as a passion for growing food has turned into something much bigger now. During the years, Steve's been experimenting with different plants, seeing what grows, and sharing his knowledge with other people. Today, we are exploring his backyard to see how he's transformed a standard urban garden into a productive and sustainable ecosystem.
Hi, my name's Steve, Steve Fawcett. I live in Te Puke, not from New Zealand originally, but born in Papua New Guinea. I guess what you see here today is a little bit of my journey from a tropical background, and having been raised in a tropical island with lots of fruit, I've tried to recreate that in this little space, like really little space. Probably about 11 years ago, I met a guy called Owen who we're living in Papamoa at that stage, and he had created a community gardens called The Rock in Papamoa, and he's a local legend. He's passed now, but he really inspired me to do something in small spaces, and while his produce in that went to the community, I've kind of gained that similar ethos about creating something not for myself but also for others to share. When we first moved in here, there was no plants at all. Basically, the whole around the house had been bulldozed, and a pool had been pulled out the back, and they'd basically gravelled everything. And so when I moved in, there wasn't a veggie garden. There wasn't one plant at all. Not even the tiniest little, prettiest little flowering plant. And so I love plants, and so when I first started, I put a whole bunch of kiwi fruit bins at the back here just to grow some veggies, and from there that kind of expanded, and I got a few tropical seeds. I got a few seeds, imported a few seeds to have a go at playing with some tropicals and that, and it was a bit of fun. And so from there, I started planning out my area, and there's quite a lot of talk in the food forest community about growing acacias and bunna grass and Mexican sunflower. But for me, I've got really limited space, and I wanted to like maximize my space with plants that would be good overstory but also fruiting. So I went for bananas because bananas are one of the quickest growing plants that you can get, and they create amazing overstory in winter, and also some feijoas. So right along this line I had feijoas and bananas, and I've pulled out half the feijoas now, and a lot of the bananas because everything's coming up. But you'll see here like white sapotes and longans, bean, starfruit, all protected during winter because of the bananas. I've got a lot of tropicals here, but I've also got a lot of plants with a point of difference, like this silk frost tree here, which has got massive spikes, but it's amazing overstory plant, and spectacular when it flowers. It's got a pink flower. I have an affinity for pink flowers. Pink is cool. There's a dainty pink hibiscus just there, and I've got some coconuts, I've grown about 200 coconuts, and I've got one just behind you there in the ground that survived 2 winters. So this will be the 3rd winter that it's survived, and it's survived because I've created a microclimate. And so along with all the fruiting plants like bananas and pineapples and tobacco and mango and that sort of thing, I've also got ornamentals and some rare ornamentals, some stuff that you wouldn't usually see in a garden, like that osmanthus fragrans just behind you there with the orange flower, which is used for tea. Right, here we have a tunnel. This is just made out of free kiwi fruit bins. I've got a couple of posts from Mitre 10 in that. This wire is concrete mesh, which is used for reinforcing when laying driveways. And it's only about 80 bucks a sheet, and basically, and it bends so easy, you just attach one side and bend it over. But I grew this, I built this so that both my grapes and my red banana passion fruit would hang from it, and I could walk through. In hindsight, I should have built it taller because I keep hitting my head on these things, aerial landmines. I also built at the top there, there's actually a pull-up bar, but it's hidden deliberately because I don't want to do any pull-ups in front of you guys. But I built it as an exercise area and as well as a fruiting area. So in my journey, I went from importing seed to buying seed locally as well, and growing things from seed. But along the way, you learn things. And so here we've got a Junsia bird of paradise. Junsia doesn't have any leaves. It's just a reed version, and it's a bit more unique. But I've pollinated these flowers, and they're all pregnant at the moment with big seed pods. So I'm just waiting for them to finish off, and then I'll have my own Junsia seed to plant out. This is one of my tunnels. In here I've got a lot of frangipani. I've got an obsession with frangipani, especially when they come into flower. These centre ones here, I've been waiting for them to flower. They've had inflows on them, and they're first timers. So with them being mixed Thai, you never know what you're going to get. And so if you have a look down here later, you'll see some different, you'll see a white one and white with pink variations. But most of these are all seed grown, imported seed. There's only a couple that I've got of my own personal collection that I've got cuttings from different places in New Zealand. I've got a lot of plants in here that I use for collaborating with other community groups, and also people that are in need or are setting up a food forest type thing. So we've got inga bean seedlings here and white sapote all down through there. I've got some ginger. These are different types of guavas, and there's a whole bunch of golden lotus pups down the end there. But yeah, love my frangipanis, and one day I'll have enough to put in my hair. Right, so I guess the thing with planting plants, you usually need a lot of space, and I don't have that here. It's quite a small property, and so and also I don't have soil on the ground, as it's all gravel. So I got these kiwi fruit bins, which I get for free, and they take a metre of soil each. There's a lot of soil, but I've put plants in here, and you can see the plant diversity from little things like peppermint to torch ginger, with other bigger plants over the top, like this golden lotus here, which is quite rare to see this flowering in New Zealand. An AA, the variegated banana. I got some indoor plants which I've put outside to grow quicker and bigger when you get them in more soil. But I've got a lot of plants stuck in together, like jaboticabas and lucuma. This is a white sapote. This is my fruiting star fruit, this one here. And keat cots, tropical guavas. I always forget this herb, what the name of it's called, but it's a herb anyway. Yeah, so things like Siam ruby and bananas and some more AAs and nono banana. A lot of plant diversity, even spring onions. Well, one of the biggest things that I hear all the time is things take so long to fruit. You know, like waiting 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And I just say like the best time to get a plant in is now, because you know time flies, and you'll look around the corner and you go, oh, I'm glad I planted that. Sometimes, you know, we fail too. Like, don't get disappointed about the failures of you killing a plant. I've killed heaps of plants. One of those areas is overwatering, and I've not done any like professional training or anything like that. So overwatering for me was, well, it was just being over caring. I was over caring for those plants and giving them way too much water, and basically waterboarding them to death. And when I first started, I was giving plants a lot of water, and I've probably gone to the other side where I underwater them, my poor plants. But I've got, you know, things like that. You learn from your mistakes. A really cool story about one of the mistakes was when I first started planting tropicals. Because we're in Te Puke and we get frost, and because you've got tropicals which, you know, don't really thrive in cold areas, I was really precious about a lot of plants that would go outside. And so I started off with tunnels and had everything in tunnels. Like that big fruiting starfruit there I had in a pot in the tunnel, and it wasn't doing too good. It wasn't overwatering it, was it underwatering it, was it getting too cold, was it getting too hot? It was like, do you give it fertilizer or not? And the starfruit just kept dropping leaves all the time. It was so frustrating. It was frustrating, very, very, very frustrating. And so I moved it from a pot into a raised bin in the tunnel, and I was still getting the same issues. And then finally I got fed up with it, and I gave it the ultimatum, and I stuck it outside in a bin. And that struggling of trying to keep that plant alive, like for a year and a half or whatever in a tunnel, was just all those problems went away when I put it outside, and the thing actually like flowered almost immediately. I was like, what? Probably because of the shock that it went through. But now that's fruited 3 times, that starfruit, and it handles winter okay. I think most tropicals have been okay outside for me. The only problematic ones have been like from little seedlings were longan, lychee, and arbu. Arbu I haven't managed to keep alive outside, but basically everything else, yeah, has lived, which is really surprising. So I've gone from starting off super scared in tunnels, growing stuff like, you know, really preciously, to just putting them outside and putting them as an understory of bigger plants, so that they've got that that diversity and that I don't know, envelopedness with other plants, and they seem to be doing okay. With bananas, there's this technique called the pith technique, and what you do is with a banana, you chop all the pups off, and you kill the main meristem, which is the main stem that's growing up. And what it does is it forces it to pup. With a banana too, with the corm, you can divide it into multiple sections, and then that will also create pups quicker. So what I've done is I've done the same thing with this is a queen pineapple, and this here is a tequila blue agave. And so I've been doing the same thing. This pineapple here has the main meristem, or the main center of it, has been destroyed, and I've chopped this in half. This is actually half a pineapple, and it's brooding. So I've got a whole bunch in here that I'm multiplying by the same technique that I've been doing the bananas, and same with these tequila plants. So what I do is, once these get a bit bigger, I just run a drill or something down the center and kill the main growth point, and then I'll just divide that whole tequila plant into 2 or 4, depending on how big the bottom of that plant is, and multiply that way. Otherwise, I've got to wait for the plant to send its own pups up. and that can take a while. So this is kind of just accelerates the process of multiplication. Yeah, which is pretty cool. This is another propagation tent I've got, and I usually prop in water, but I ended up getting one of these machines. I had an older one which constantly leaked, and it was so annoying. But basically, you just take a cutting, and these are foam pads, and you can use rooting hormone if you want or not, and then you just put it into this, and it's got a little sprinkler system underneath. And basically all your cuttings, you can see the little sprinkler system down there. Some of the ones where there's not much growth is because the sprinkler systems are not quite getting it, but they start to get like these little dots first before the roots come, and then the roots start getting prolific. So these ones here I could actually plant right now into some soil. And as long as you keep your water clean and those sprinklers unblocked, they'll propagate fine. So that there is Bodhi tree, or what's called the sacred fig. It's a really popular plant in temples. Just like the back section, there was no plants out here. So I put a lot of hydrangeas just along the front here and also along the front. They grew really quickly and pink flowers, but in the ground they turn blue and pinks depending on the acidity of the soil. But I had hydrangeas and cherimoyas along that fence line, and then some green and red Abyssinian bananas to grow to get seed from. That's a Goldfinger banana, and that's a dwarf Cavendish. Got another Goldfinger in the corner here I've just put in, but I've just put in this short section, this little section here, and basically I had a whole heap of pots on the driveway and I need to get them off the driveway, and I was like, do I sell them or do I get them in the ground, and then once they fruit I can always mark out the branches and then sell them off, or help with installing food forests and that. So I put a persimmon line in, so I've got two varieties of persimmon. There's like both are fuyus, but one's a ways fuyu, so it fruits at a different time. And in between those I've got black sapotes and star fruits and a whole bunch of different types of citrus, a jujube, red pineapple, and some colourful plants as well, like the ficus there. So because a lot of things will lose their leaves in wintertime and it looks quite bare, so I'm just trying to get some colour in there, like the bird of paradise that will still have some green when everything's died back. I'll put this Michaela alba. This is amazing scented flower, another plant that Asians love. So, and I just picked up some avocado rootstock, which I'll graft over the coming weeks. I was born in the islands, and there's the saying that goes, he's gone Troppo, or she's gone Troppo, or Troppo meaning gone mad, usually from the heat, or I don't know, eating too many coconuts or bananas. But I originally named this project because I run this under a charity, and so some of the rares that and some of the plants that we sell, money that goes back into either community gardens or installing veggie bins for Kai resilience within the community, and also working alongside others that are building food forests and stuff like that. So this is a bit unique because I've got a garden, I've got a tropical garden, flower garden and all that, but we've also got like a mini nursery here of some super weird plants, like this one that I've just brushed against, and it smells a little bit like weed and it's a bit stinky. But yeah, so the name Troppo originally came from me rebranding from Happy Sign Project, and I was getting a lot of first, Happy Sign Project is a really long name. Second, everyone was asking me what a sign was, and I was always having to explain that instead of show them the plant. And so I was toying with the idea of this whole tropical Troppo idea going mad with too many plants, and as you can see I have way too many plants, and I have I have gone mad. And so Troppo fitted. It fitted the whole ethos as well, with tropicals and originally hailing from the islands.